idea? Yours, that is. Sounds like a croc. I don't see anything. Yeah, there's a croc. Legend of the Gobbos. Yeah. Found the croc. Croc of shit, that is. Oh, sorry. I'm just reminiscing on some past memories. Um, like I said, this game is a crock of shit, but it's my shit. Anything that's yours is always that little bit more special, even if it's your own shit in the bowl. And I know how disgusting that sounds, but take it in a more figurative term. You see, for example, when you're in kindergarten, you probably did some really bad, like maybe fingerprint art, some really bad drawings. But your parents held on to them, and now when you view them today, they're gonna be close to you, even though they look like a heaping dump of shit. But it's your shit, as this is my shit. You see, this was a game I grew up with on the PlayStation. I played it a lot, a hell ton, and I enjoyed it so much. The only problem was I never truly owned this game. The only time I ever got to play it was at my cousin's house. But I would say that's what makes this game just that much more special for me. I have it tied to my cousin with this one. And it just makes it that much more special. That's why it pains me, and it actually hurts for me to go back to it and accept its faults, accept that it is not a great game. Honestly, Croc is one of those games where I find the development of the game to be that much more entertaining than the actual game itself. You see, Croc used to be a completely different game. The idea of the game was still the same, to be a 3D platformer, but it was supposed to be a 3D Yoshi platformer. Now, I'm not here to say that I would have preferred it to be a Yoshi game, but I'm also here to say that I would have preferred it as a Yoshi game. Now, it's kind of upsetting that they gave them quite the firm no, but I think I have an idea on why they did. Does anyone here even remember what the CDI was? The crappy dick interactive system? I technically don't either. I wasn't born back then, but I do know what it is now. The CDI was a CD-based system created by the DVD company Philips. This is a stretch to call it an actual video game console, but regardless, that's what it's considered to be. You see, at one point, Philips actually partnered with Nintendo to create a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo. This is infamously Nintendo's worst decision in history. Now, I'm sure you can see where this is going. If you've taken any history in video games, you know that also around this time, Nintendo was working with another company to create a CD-based add-on. And that company was Sony. And they were trying to create the Nintendo PlayStation. But Nintendo decided to go inside with Philips to create this add-on instead. So, Sony decided to take it into their own hands and actually create their own video game console. Nintendo single-handedly created one of their biggest rivals in the video game industry. If you ask me, that is a pretty big oops. Now, one of the reasons I think Nintendo actually did this to Sony was because Philips offered a very cheaper asking price to help make this system. They just had a different kind of deal attached. This deal was that Philips could use some of Nintendo's IPs to create games for their system. This spawned the holy triforce of shit in Hotel Mario. Now let's get back to Croc. Now I'm not saying that this is why this game got rejected by Nintendo, but if you're to ask me for a couple reasons why, the CDI would be one of the ones on the top of the list. It just makes a lot of sense. They were still feeling the burn from that stupid deal that they made when this game was pitched to them. So they were quite hesitant for understanding reasons. So when Argonauts Games was rejected by them, they instead turned their eye to the PlayStation. And with the help of Fox Interactive, they published the game under the title Croc Legend of the Gobbos. So, why don't we put this game in? That way I can show you why this game just doesn't hold up. As I mentioned earlier, this game was created by Argonauts Games. Look at this cute little guy blowing up the logo of the company. Wow, this is just so charming already, and we haven't even gotten to the damn title screen. Honestly, why don't more companies do that? I think that's a real charming way, making the characters of the games interact with the logo. That's really cute, and I wish they would bring that back. Like Conker's Bad Fur Day, Banjo-Kazooie, they did that. Man, that makes me sad. And this music's jamming. Like, that is one positive I have to give to the games I've reviewed so far, is that they both have really good music. This game does not fail there. But it doesn't save it either. This game isn't gonna break me. This game is not gonna break me. This damn dude, look at this little guy. This game isn't gonna break me. Like, damn, dude, look at this little guy. This game is so damn adorable. Imagine this being Yoshi. Yoshi. Imagine that. That would be so fucking cool. Can someone make a mod of this game where the character is Yoshi instead? I love the story here. It is so simple, short, and very cute. Look, this basket is spotted in the river by the creatures called the Gobbos. Found in the basket is our little man, Croc. Oh my god, he's so adorable! Anyhow, the king of the Gobbos takes on the task of raising Croc, teaching him how to fight and survive. And this scene right here is so cute! I don't think this is literally meant to be him just growing big, but rather a passage of time. And the king is just like, oh wow, look how big you've gotten! But then, one day, the villain, Baron Dante. Can we just take a moment on that? This cute-ass game also has one of the most badass names for a villain. Baron Dante? You can't even look at me and tell me that doesn't sound kick-ass, man. If some guy came up to me and said they were Baron Dante, they fucking have my wallet, my key, and they have the clothes on my back in 2 seconds flat. Easily. So, the villain, Baron Dante, starts to raise havoc upon the Gobbos. The king then decides to send Croc away to protect him from the clutches of him, whilst he gets captured himself. Very simple and quick to the point. Introduces the hero, introduces the bad guy, gives a reason to go after the bad guy, straight to the point. I love that. And it's just cute too. This is adorable of a game. It's just unfortunate once we get to the first level, that's when it starts to crumble. Ew! Tank controls? Wait, but I can run left and right fine, but backwards is tank control? What the hell is this? These are some of the most awkward ass controls I've ever had the misfortune of using. Like, You literally push forward, you can go left and right, but if you stand still and then press right, then he just turns like a tank. But it's weird, like, why would he do this? It's like the in-between of tank control and full-on analog control. Why just not go for one or the other? Tank control would be even worse, so I'm happy they didn't go that way. But it just bothers me to know that they took the effort to go halfway instead of going all the way. If this game had full analog control, to be honest, a good some of my problems with this game would instantly be remedied. Aside from the weird controls, Croc is your typical 3D platformer. It is quite literally just get to the end of the level, sort of like Crash Bandicoot. Along the path, you'll find a bunch of these crystals scattered about. These act as your health. The more that you have on you, the more that will drop when you take your first hit, and if you have 0 on you, you'll end up dying. Collecting a certain amount will also grant you an extra life. Thinking about it, this is basically the same system that's in Sonic the Hedgehog with the rings. It is essentially the same system. So that's nice. Also along the path, you'll find these 5 specifically colored crystals. These are hidden throughout the courses, sometimes in the open, in the crates, or sometimes even disguised as the other crystals. This emphasizes that you should explore the levels. But these crystals don't really do much, and I'll explain why. You see, the last collectible in the game are the Gobbos themselves. When Baron Dante went and wreaked havoc on them, he ended up trapping 6 of them in each course in the game. So along with the objective of just getting to the end of the course, you're also tasked with collecting every Gobbo. The Gobbos themselves grant you a reward at the end of the game, but this reward is not worth it, and I'll elaborate more on why about that later towards the end of the video. But if you know ahead of time that it just isn't worth it, then I highly recommend not going for them. Now let's talk about the levels themselves. These levels are visually pleasing. I actually really enjoy how the game looks. It's bright, vibrant, and it just pops overall. It is wonderful, very pleasing. But the level design itself, it's very rudimentary. They just aren't fun to traverse. Not bad, just not fun either. Also, tied with the weird controls, these otherwise easy jumps can actually be more difficult and frustrating to actually pull off, which is very disappointing. This one level right here, I swear, took me a damn hour. An hour! A fucking hour! You should otherwise take 5 minutes on. This desert level literally fried my brain and my patience so much that I ended up having to take a step back from the game. And that isn't me. When I play a game, I only stop if I'm tired or I'm just done playing for the day. Not because I got pissed off. And that's what Croc did to me. I ended up getting that pissed off that I just needed to stop playing it. Then I thought, okay, let's give it another try. And I tortured myself for another hour trying to do that level. And enough's enough. I typically wouldn't do this, but I ended up using a password to skip to the first boss in the desert level. It's just, I'm not gonna take the time to fucking beat this level because it's so poorly fucking designed. Like the other 3 hubs, all the levels are actually fine. What happened here? Anyhow, at first when I went to enter this password, I was actually kind of scared because look how long that is. But then I learned that it's literally just pushing directions on the D-pad, and you see that doesn't make it as frustrating. Like I mentioned, there are boss fights in this game. 2 for each world to be exact. These are very underwhelming. They just aren't satisfying. It's literally just go hit them 3 times, and on the 3rd hit, you're done. And imagine if you're beating someone up, and they just do that.
Did I win?
This game is quite literally the definition of having a bunch of charm, but no substance. The 3D platforming in this game is very mediocre. The level design is rudimentary at best, and the boss fights are just very underwhelming. They aren't fun to fight against. Even the final boss in the game is very, very underwhelming. I can literally explain this boss in a couple sentences. So you see, he has 3 phases. The first one, he just swings his arm around, just hit him a couple times. Cool. Second time, he starts bull charging you. Just let him bull charge towards you and hit him again. Cool. And the third time, he just tries to electrify you. Cool. Then, with the not so great Baron Dante beaten, the Gobbos commemorate you with a statue, and that's the game. That is it. Unless you do what I said that you shouldn't do and collect all the Gobbos. Unless you are a madman and decide to go through every level collecting Gobbos. Yes, every damn one, you'll unlock this final world. Now, like I said, the level design is very rudimentary. It's not fun, the platforming is mediocre, so why would you want to do a level? And so the adventure begins again. Unfortunately, these are just more shitty levels that lead into one of the most underwhelming secret bosses ever. It's a crystal Baron Dante. Wow, what an incredible fucking reward. And look, you literally just go around and hit all 4 gongs quickly and you win. Now I see why they rejected you, Croc. You are a bland, rudimentary, and mediocre 3D platformer. And that's just sad. You had the potential. The charm is there. The effort was there. But it just fell flat, hard. Hitting your face into a freaking sidewalk flat. And I'm sorry, Croc, but I have to send you back outside where you belong, man. I'm sorry.